Corruption remains front and center as pressure builds for accountability and public spending. The palace has ordered a crackdown on growth projects, overpricing, and fund misuse, while the Senate is pushing for up to a 30% cut in the DPWH's budget to strip out padded costs. But for the business community, words simply are not enough. Over 30 major business groups have issued a joint statement demanding real accountability and systemic reform, warning that corruption is bleeding the economy and eroding public trust. Joining us for a discussion on accountability, corruption reform, and competitiveness is Federation of the Philippine Industries Chairperson, Elizabeth Lee. Hi, Beth. Thanks for being here with us.
Thanks, Mikey. My pleasure.
Okay, Beth, let's begin with how FPI members are feeling right now. With all of the corruption scandals dominating the headlines, what's the mood in the manufacturing and business community?
Impatient. That is the mood. Impatient right now. With corruption front and center, one thing good is that the president himself was the whistleblower, and that the government is actually doing something about it. But there's really things that we need to see. Three things really. There's the speed, transparency, and accountability is required. Speed, we have to move from announcements to action. So if there are pause on bad projects, but fast track those that are good. Transparency, we need to be able to track where the money goes. So online, preferably. So the contracts, maybe bidding and the bidders should be online. And then accountability, of course, is what we're looking at. You need accountability, so you need indictments, you need prosecutions, and of course, restitution.
Yeah. At this point, how serious do you think the government is about curbing corruption in the Philippines? So far, no real accountability yet. It's just still all about talk about cleaning corruption from the system. What are your thoughts on this, Beth?
Yeah, well, we're hoping. We think the government really is serious about this, especially when the president said he's not going to follow the evidence. That's what he was saying. Follow the evidence wherever the evidence leads you. So we really are banking on these three things: speed, transparency, and accountability, because that's important, especially for the business community. There is a risk premium that investors are looking at our country if the corruption is high front and center, but is the government doing something about it? And how quickly will the government actually come out with those who are accountable and restitution?
And interesting that you mentioned that, the risk premiums, this climate of corruption that's been hovering over us. How has that affected expansion plans and progress in business as you see it?
Yes, you're right, Mikey. It actually has an effect locally on those businesses that are looking to expand. So there is a wait and see on those who want to expand, so that there is an effect on that one. But also looking at a risk premium of the country. If the risk is actually higher, if the country needs to take out loans, the interest rates on our loans are actually higher. So it does cost the economy, the businesses, and the whole Philippines. It costs us money. It becomes expensive.
Yeah, it becomes expensive to do business in the Philippines because of those risk premiums. On account of these corruption scandals, I know you won't have the exact figures, but just your estimate, how high have our risk premiums increased on account of these corruption scandals?
Smuggling is not, the Philippines doesn't have a monopoly on corruption or smuggling for that matter. But, we estimate that, smuggling across all types of products are about 2 trillion annually of smuggled products. So I want to actually mention at least that there's a few good men in the administration of the president. So one is the DPWH head, that's Vince Dizon, and then also the Bureau of Customs Commissioner Ariana Pomoceno, who are both fairly new in their positions.
Very new, newly minted.
Yes, and it's really refreshing to see that these two men are actually doing everything that they can. And they really don't take it against you. If there's something that you think that needs to be changed, in the case of the BOC, the commissioner actually has a isumbong mo kay commissioner, taking off from the isumbong mo kay Pangulo. So if there is something that's shenanigans that are going on, you can actually inform the the customs, and you will.
Yeah.
They'll take action.
Yeah. Speaking of, anti-smuggling reforms, Commissioner Ariel Nepomuceno says that he wants to fully digitalize BOC operations nationwide before the end of the president's term. It's a big goal, and it would be a great legacy for this administration. But do you think, Beth, that this is realistic, especially that there's going to be no funding in next year's budget for this?
No, we're hopeful because, if there's a will, there's a way. I mean, we already know what's happening now. But this would be, you're right, this would be a very good legacy for the president. Where other past presidents could not make this happen, wouldn't it be wonderful for the current president, BBBM, to actually make this a reality? Because that's one of the best ways,
especially in 2025, with all the progress that we've made on the digital front. That would be a wonderful legacy
and
for
it's
the Marcos
already there. It's
administration.
not like a huge step forward, It's already a hop. And there are ways to actually get funding. The BOC commissioner can actually ask under DOF, Secretary Ralph Recto, where he can actually get some funding to get this going. This would be a fantastic legacy for PBBM under his administration.
Yeah. Okay, on government accountability, the ICI has decided to live stream hearings. This is a first for a body tackling corruption. What are your thoughts on this, Beth?
Yeah, I think there's a clamor for it, and we can understand why. If you put things into light, there would be more discussions, and people can see that things are moving forward. So I think it is to the benefit of everybody and the ICI to have this.
That's what we need to see for things to move forward on the accountability front.
Yes.
On another note, earlier this week, Monday, it was just released that 30 of the biggest business groups in the Philippines, including the FPI, signed a joint statement demanding accountability from this administration. It was a very strong and united stand. What was it that actually pushed you? Was there a particular point that said, okay, tama na, we got to do this?
Yeah, because what's on the line, Mikey, with this corruption is trust. We need to protect our economy, we need to protect our businesses, and trust in the economy and trust in the government is on the line. So the more than 30 businesses associations actually came together for a larger voice to say that this is the time to actually put a stop on this corruption. And it's really the largesse, it's the extravagance, it's the absolute impunity. And it's not just theft, it's billions of pesos that was stolen from the Filipino. So that leaving all of us underwater, both in taxes and in floods. And Filipinos actually now realize, hindi pala tayo poor. Kung hindi ninakaw yung salapi. In fact, DOF Secretary Ralph Recto said we should be growing at 6 to 6.2%. Where are we now? We are at 5.5%. Kung hindi ninakaw yun, naipasok yun sa ekonomiya. And then we also had employment with this because government is the largest employer. Look where our economy should be going, or should be right at this point.
And despite all of this, we're growing at about 5.5%. Imagine what that could have been, Beth. Okay, last question before I let you go. We're out of time. FPI has long pushed for stronger accountability. Do you agree, I'm talking about the plea bargain, do you agree that any plea bargain should start with full asset recovery before any negotiations are made?
If no pay, no deal. If a plea bargain without restitution is really a bargain sale on corruption. So you need full restitution.
You don't get to keep the money. Give it all back. Dapat may interest pa eh.
Tama. Talaga, no pay, no deal.
No pay, no deal. Beth Lee, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us this morning.
Thank you, Mikey.